All right, so I don't think you guys are gonna like what I have to say in today's video, but it is important that all of us are prepared for all outcomes. Okay, we're prepared for all outcomes. Now, we're going to start on the smaller term time frame for crypto. The cryptocurrency market is currently dumping. Unfortunately, Bitcoin dominance is having a bit of a bounce, so that means that our altcoins aren't performing as well as they were in previous dumps, guys. But let's go to point number one. Point number one is we spoke about sweeping the lows yesterday. We didn't speak about how deep we're going to sweep the lows, so we'll get into that in just a second. But right now, we're retesting a range that we hadn't retested yet. Okay, so I'm going to remove this and we can mark this up. This sort of no man's land zone, previous high, right? This zone hadn't been tested after a monster move from 98k all the way to 124k. So 26% move for Bitcoin. So number one, many of you guys already know, we need to come back down and retest key areas of interest, which this was, okay? Happens time after time. If we go back to the last breakout after a mad consolidation, where did that bring us, guys? We pumped all the way from 45k or 49k to 109k, which was about 120% move. And then we had the correction from 122k all the way back down. Guess what? To retest the previous reaccumulation range breakout. And that was a 31% drawdown. Okay. Now, we're zoomed in. Even though we're on the daily, we're zoomed in. We're just looking at the 4 hourly. We're zoomed in. I think what all of us need to do is really start to look at the weekly and assess the weekly. Now, when it comes to the weekly, it doesn't look that bad. However, if we're being honest, enduring 20, 30%, even like 10% pullbacks can be quite painful when we're in the thick of it, right? So right now, we're about a 12% pullback from the all-time high, right? Not previous range highs that weren't in price discovery, from the absolute highest price Bitcoin has ever been, ever. Okay, so that's a little bit of context behind that. Now, am I worried? Am I going to be max shorting, or am I going to be looking for longs? Now, I'm going to be looking for longs, guys, because what you're going to see here is that we have not lost this trend line once yet in this bull run, guys. Okay, found a low at 16k, if it lets me draw it. Found a low at 16k. Retested the range, or built the range at around 25k. Retested that range at 45k. Retested that range at 75k. Are we getting ready to retest the range once again, being that the new narrative is Bitcoin seasonality, right? And there's going to be a pullback in September. September has to be red. Okay, we spoke about 106k being a key level of interest for us. So it wouldn't really be that surprising. And to be honest, we're like, what, 1% away from that right now? When you come to the weekly, this drop doesn't seem that bad, okay? Pretty shallow drop when you compare it to the rest of them. However, from 109k, it's still about another 10%, depending on when we do reach it. Obviously, the later we reach it, the less of a drop it's going to be. But it could bring us back down to 100k, guys. And what would that be in line with? It would be in line with our good old friends, the order blocks. And to be honest, everyone uses their own trading tools. This has been perfect for me to know when to take profit out of certain alts, like, Bitcoin, Ethereum, some of the other ones that we spoke about. Okay, when we could be expecting pullbacks. I haven't been going crazy with the trades because a bull run's a bull run, and you guys saw what happened with the liquidation event yesterday. That's exactly why I haven't been over leveraging myself, but I use it as a good area of where I could be picking up some spot bags, or I could be selling some of my spot bags. Okay, so 124k was the very top of the order block. Now we've got the 106k level that we spoke about in yesterday's video. And guess what? Surprise, surprise. At around 100k, people are ready to rebuy this range, guys. Okay? So if we came back down to 100k, we would have lost this zone that we spoke about. And let's even get rid of these yellow lines. We would have lost like the retest zone. However, there's immense support underneath it. And I don't think a lot of people are going to be ready for 100k Bitcoin because they're promised alt season. And because if that happens, Bitcoin dominance most likely will start to have a bit of a bounce. Okay, so right now we had a bit of a bounce from 57% today, and that meant that on a 3% dump, ETH dumped around 8%. Okay, yesterday's candle was, when we get the measuring tool out, guys, 8.7%. Okay, so we'll get into ETH in a different video, but I do think ETH needs to come back down and retest around 4.1k. It had the small retest, maybe it needs to double bottom here, something like this, which would be absolutely fine. One bottom, two bottoms, maybe it forms a triple bottom, maybe it comes back down to 3.8k to retest this breakout, which it didn't really get a clean retest of, guys. Okay, if that happens, not going to be panicking. And when we use the 4-hourly chart for Ethereum, you're going to see we're in a mad area of support right now. So anywhere between 4.3 to 4.1k. There's a lot of buyers here. And then again, we've got our last line in the sand at around 3.9k, or else there's not really too many buyers stacking up their longs at the moment lower than this. Okay, but I'd imagine something like 3.3k would be another area of interest. So really we need Bitcoin dominance to kind of take a chill. I mean, it's been in a solid downtrend. It's confirmed 2 breakdowns so far, which is bullish for altcoins. However, if Bitcoin is going to dump, guys, then obviously altcoins are going to dump. Okay, that's just how it is. So I want to say, when it comes to Bitcoin, maybe if we can't hold 109k, we've got to come lower and retest this buy. We've got to come lower and retest this buy zone at 106k. And if we can't hold that, then this might be, or this may mark the bottom of this pullback, guys. Okay, where it has so far every single time. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. It's marked the bottom, guys. Okay, so it may not feel great to have pullbacks on the cards. I'm sure a lot of you guys would have seen pretty much every YouTuber talking about September correction, September correction. I spoke about this on my Twitter, when was this? About a week ago. And that was right before we had Jerome Powell coming out dovish and then, absolutely pumping the markets. People in the comments saying it aged poorly, that we're cooked. But did it really age poorly? Are we too zoomed in on the smaller time frames, guys? So it's just a quick one to say this is kind of like some of my expectations. It doesn't have to happen. The pullback could finish at 109k because people like myself are waiting to long these zones. There's gonna be a lot of people waiting to long these zones, but it's a non-zero probability. Okay, so this could happen. It may not. I know a lot of you guys are gonna hate that. It may or it may not happen, but we got to look at what Bitcoin's done 4 times already this cycle. After a big push, it's come back down to retest a key area of support. And I think if we do start to break down from this yellow trend, that's when we can start to be a little bit worried and think, right, if we do something like this, where we come down and we lose the yellow trend, come back up, reject from the yellow trend and go back down again, then we can be like, right, bull market's over. But for now, nothing like that has happened, guys. So we need to take a chill pill. All right. So that's just some of my thoughts tonight. We're going to be back tomorrow for some more altcoin videos. And if you don't want to miss that, if you don't want to miss my live streams, make sure you are subscribed. You've liked the video. Please, it helps me out more than you guys can imagine. And you can let me know how you're feeling about the market in the comment section. See you tomorrow. Peace.